everybody, I'm Rob the Ranger. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy the video.
Poa sana. Hakuna. Nilikuwa natafuta hawa. Alafu niende mshara. Yaju. Nimetoka aje hapa chini. Yaju ilikuwa lakini aliingia. Aliingia karibu na hii kambi inaitwa nyingine ya chini. Okay. Na watoto. Hebu muulize kama hapo na watoto. Unajua na ukivuka tu yani alafu rudi kushoto. Hapo kuna magari hapo. Nilikuwa nataka afichwe hapa kwa sababu sichachukua yeye fichwe hapa. Yeah, tunasafiri niende kutoka kama nimeenda la. Okay, poa.
We've got lots of signals.
Signals there?
Plenty of signals.
Hello everyone, yes, we've finally got somewhere with signal and something happening. It's Mdomo and her two cubs there, and one other lioness, can't identify just yet. Finishing off the kill. Princess. Yuda says it's princess. And then lots of black-backed jackals hanging around. There's some hyenas in the distance as well. What do you think the kill was, Yuda?
It's a Topi.
Topi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the horns, but yeah. That's Topi pride eating a topi. What's left of it. What have we got there? Oh, and one of the Bila-shaka males is behind us. So let me just move you around. There he is. Just want to see.
Look like Mogoi.
Yeah. Kibogoyo. The one missing canine means toothless. We'll leave him to sleep. There's a little bit more action happening the other side. So we go back through the car, and there you go. Very full cubs. The jackals are very brave. Right on top of the lioness that's eating. Seems the jackals are much braver than the hyenas today. The hyenas are still sitting quite far back. Jackals are right on top of everybody here. 5 jackals. Question there, do black-backed jackals have a hierarchical society like the hyenas? Usually it's just family groups that we see, male and female, and their most recent offspring. You see a couple of the ones here are smaller, so you don't really see them in big packs, but I would think it would be more of a wolf-like society if they were in big packs. Oh, the jackal's the size of a coyote. No, they're a bit smaller, a lot smaller, I would say. There with Mum that side. There you go. I think if the cubs were a little less full, they'd be chasing the jackals around for fun, but they're a little bit overfed right now. Is up. Maybe it's going to play with the jackals, but no. To the feeding. If you can make out right in the distance, there's a big elephant walking as well. A bone. There's a hammerkop that's arrived that's picking on some of the bones as well. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. There it is. You usually expect to find the hammerkops in the wetland areas eating frogs and catching fish. This one's come to scavenge. why is the lioness eating alone? It's because the other ones over here are all full. And the male that's with them also full. Almighty is asking, where is this? We're in the Maasai Mara in Kenya, and to be more precise, at the bottom of Rhino Ridge on Topi Plains. Chris is asking, are the Bila-shakas still dominant over this pride? If you didn't see Chris, there is one of the Bila-shakas. So, yes. Is this the only location wild lion exist in packs? No. No, wild lions are in many reserves all over Africa, and also small isolated population in India as well. Christopher's asking, is this the marsh pride? No, it's the Topi pride. They're related to the marsh pride. They were a breakaway of the marsh pride at one point, but they're not the actual marsh pride. You must also talk on the camera, Yoda.
I'm just enjoying.
How many are in this pride? A lot. There's only 2 lionesses and the 2 cubs with 1 male here, but how many are there? 9 lionesses in total?
8.
8.
Yeah.
8 lionesses. Plus the 2 cubs at the moment. I don't know if there's any new cubs somewhere.
We have 6 boys.
Are we close to the Tanzanian border? We're not far. Maybe 20 kilometers or so, something like that. big boy behind us just put his head up, so let's have a look at him again quickly. There we go. Questions there. When does the migration start? Soon. There's already some wildebeest in the area. Others should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. The other one, the question I saw there is, do they control, does males control any other prides? They control this pride, the Topi pride at the moment, and the marsh pride. They seem content with those two prides for now. But, I'm sure they'll expand their territory as they get older and stronger. The young male, yes, the Bila-shakas are all 5 years old, so they've still got a long future ahead of them as dominant males of the Mara. Was that a hammerkop by the lines? It was a hammerkop. It was eating some meat that was left over. Do they come into conflict with the Musketeer coalition? They haven't yet. They may do as time goes by. But as yet they haven't pushed down to the river yet. How long do wild lions live? In the wild they would be very old if they manage to make it to more than 12. There are a few big males in the area that are 14, 15, getting that, so they're old age pensioners, lion-wise. Lionesses will live longer, 16 to 18 years typically, if they're lucky. In captivity, they live well over 20 years. So, go back to the other side. Do I know what carcass it is? It was a Topi. No, it's just bones. How many males? It is 6 males of coalition. Only one of them here that we can see. Chris says it looks like Kiako Chonga, no, it's Kibogoyo, the three-tooth boy.
Sina mazuri. Hakuna chochote. Tumetoka Kabosa nikapanda hivi. Ndio tukakuja hapa. Hii ni zebra. Bila siweka stika. Kinasikia kuna juu kule kwenu. Tulikuwa na Kabosa hapo chini.
Question about crossbreeding there, not quite sure what you mean. If you could rephrase the question, I might be able to answer. How many lionesses in the pride? 8, but there's only 2 here. Not a golden jackal, it's black-backed jackals. Why don't I have tiger videos? It's because we have no tigers here. Tigers are in Asia. We're in Africa. Will I go live more often this time? The problem is the signal here in the Mara is very, very patchy. So a lot of the time we're sitting with great sightings, but I can't get online. And other times when we have got the sightings and I can get online, it's still too choppy and people can't see what's going on. We're very lucky that we've got a clear signal today. Maybe because the sun's out, I don't know. Okay, that question about crossbreeding. In general, you'd only find lions and tigers or lions and leopards or anything mating in a forced situation where they're put in captivity and forced to mate with one another. They're not closely related enough to be attractive to one another, so it wouldn't naturally happen. So you get these crossbreeds that are made in the zoo, which are generally problematic. Something like a lion and a tiger, the ligers, they don't have they have a problem with their growth hormones, so they don't stop growing. It's just silly. There's no reason to force those animals to mate with each other. It was Chris. It was Low Parpet that was attacked the other day. Well, not the other day, a few weeks ago. He's fine now. We saw him 2 days ago. How often the prides come across one another? Not that often, because they mark their territory with scent, they call, so they avoid one another. They occasionally do come across each other, especially when females have got cubs and they're on their own. They might wander out of the core territory into one of the crossover areas. But yes, it's a lapwinkle. But yeah, generally the prides try and avoid conflict as much as possible. What happened to tiger canyons? I think it still exists, but yeah, it's not introducing tigers to the bush as such. It's just a fenced-off area where the varieties are breeding tigers to try and conserve the species. It wasn't an experiment to try and release them into Africa or anything. It's just somewhere that they were safe from poaching. More questions? My feed's gone. Peter's asking, is it the marsh pride? It's a breakaway from the marsh pride. They're called the Topi pride. They haven't been part of the marsh pride for many years, many years. When a lion begins to decline in health, how does the process happen there? Well, like people, they get old. The immune system doesn't work as well as it was. They get sick, they get weak, they can't eat properly, they can't keep up with the pride, so on. How many marsh pride? Oh, over the years, many marsh pride breakaways. So these guys are the main ones this side of the reserve. There was another marsh pride breakaway that went across into the Mara Triangle, and if you go far enough back, there's lots of groups that have broken off from prides and become other prides, and as they get renamed, you lose the history sometimes. Do you get emotionally attached? The official answer to that is no, we are observers and we don't get it, but of course you do. Of course you get attached to the animals if you see them every day, and it's not nice to see them getting killed by others or getting sick and getting old, but it is how it is. I think that the main marsh breakaways you hear about are the ones that are in the Mara Triangle, the ones that moved across a couple of years ago. How long have I been a guide? 20 years? More than 20 years? And how long does it take to make a full documentary on their lives? Well, it depends how long their lives are. And yeah, how much of their lives you want to document. When I was in the Sabi Sands up until 2 years ago. I worked there for 15 years. The beauty of living in the bush. As the migration started, not properly. There was a big group of wildebeest came across about a week ago, but nothing since then. Most of the herds are still Tanzania side, still coming north. Those jackals in the background, yes they are black-backed jackals, and a hammerkop. And if you look far enough in the background, where is he? There's an elephant far away, right at the top there. Was that a wildebeest? No, it was a Topi, a little bit smaller than a wildebeest, so not that much food to go around. Between two big lionesses, two cubs and a male. That's why it's pretty much finished. Hyena, there are hyenas, but they're lying down, we can't really see them. Trying to look, yeah, you won't see them. They're lying in the grass quite far back, waiting to see what's left behind. Buffalo far in the distance coming down the hill as well. Let's go back to the big male behind us. He's woken up again. The temperature, it is about 18 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in the other flavour. Is he moving? But he's moving. away from the kill and towards the person with the camera up his nose. You just scent marked the car there. Disappear off into the bushes there. Scent mark there. Right. Can you drive off-road in the Mara? Not unless you have a permit, an off-road permit. So we are parked as close as we can be. What we're going to do now, I am going to close off. We're going to go and see what else there is around. We've been here for we've been here for nearly an hour, so you've been online for nearly 40 minutes now. Would a jackal attack the cub while the females are asleep? No, they wouldn't. The cubs are bigger than them. Maybe when the cubs are very, very, very tiny, but not now. Okay. Alright guys, so we're going to sign off. Thank you very much for joining, and if we do manage to get something else later in the morning that we can see and we have signal and everything, we'll go back on live again. So bye bye. Just pee on the car again. Okay.
And it's pushing the car fast like this.
1.3 thousand watches. Okay, that's good. Cool. Let us go and get him on camera.
That's how he's going to cross.
Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, ding the bell, buy a t-shirt, whatever else that YouTube people do on YouTube. Alright, see you next time. So here's a couple of links to more videos on my channel that you might want to check out. Also the social networks, you can follow me there for live updates, pictures, etc. from Safari.